Hello, everybody, and welcome to another pricing Q&A, this time mostly focusing on Southeast Asia and Australia. I have many different qualities, but customers don't read much of what I write. Which ones should I push? So which ones should you emphasize? Look, something being a positive thing, a positive quality about you doesn't always mean that you should emphasize, that you should communicate it. Because in marketing, even not all positive qualities work on the same level. Some of the positive qualities are just, let's say, satisfiers. It's bad not to have them, but it's not a real plus if you do. If that's hard to imagine, let's say a dentist says, I always wash my hands between every customer. I mean, that's a good thing, but he shouldn't emphasize it because, yeah, and you should. You not doing that, that would be a major red flag. But you doing that is something that we expect of you, right? It's expected. It's not really a plus. The same thing would be, come to work with me or to work for me. I have enough toilets for everybody, right? It doesn't make any sense to emphasize that. That's not a plus. Not having enough toilets, well, you're in deep trouble. But if you have enough toilets, that's not a plus. So that's a satisfier. So the other things could be then motivators. It's like having really good references, low number of complaints, stuff like that. Those are really motivators, especially if they mesh well with your buyer's motivation. So in order for you to distinguish satisfiers from motivators, sometimes they're easy, like the number of toilets, but sometimes they're hard. And you should, of course, first talk to customers or do what they call a safari. A safari is checking out the watering holes. So all of the places where your target audience goes to the internet to talk, you go there, you check what they're talking about and what they're not talking about, and you will get a pretty good picture of satisfiers and motivators. A question?
So my question is coming from opposite side, let's say. So me as a company owner or employer, I have let's say a very reliable external partner who is working for many years and on a consultant as a consultant on the project. And recently he has decided to stop cooperation, which was then also known to the customer because there was a very tight cooperation with them and the customer is not happy, and he is making demands to basically risk entire cooperation unless we are able somehow to find a win-win solution and either keep our partner in some way, shape or form. On the other hand, the consultant doesn't seem to be very interested to continue, let's say, in the same way. And definitely we see that he has an upper hand when it comes to negotiations. So my question is, how can we approach this matter, and how could we persuade the partner to still see the value in our cooperation, and also to encourage him that we don't lose the client because it can basically ruin a lot of our business.
Okay. It is a different kind of question, but I would say it all depends on the client's motivation. So in less PC terms, what do they fear? So now that you have lost that, let's say, key person that they trusted in for any reason, they if they're worried about it, and they sound worried, they're worried about something, some outcome. So they could be worried that the project will turn late because of the delay, right? Because it was never planned to have X months to, but maybe that's not their main concern. Maybe their main concern is for some data breaches or a loss of confidence in that way, or simply they liked the guy, they understood the guy, or they found a common language, and it took a while, right? So finding out their number one concern is the priority here, because maybe you don't need somebody that skilled in I don't know, coding, because I know what you do, but maybe you need somebody who is just able to communicate that well, and you can patch up coding with people that you already have, or it's the other way around. So finding out what they're worried about, right, is the only way that you can approach that without being wasteful, because you patching up all of that that could be wrong with one person, that's really expensive, and on time.
Yes.
That's the usual. Either you get you can get high quality, cheap and quick. You just have to pick two, right?
Yep.
So I can't be more specific until you know what's bothering them. But when you do, then you can offer assurances that this will not happen because of this, because of that. Maybe you can make an outside deal with that person, or if that's not possible, maybe the customer has somebody that they had in mind, or something like that. Usually they don't. Anyway, more info needed, but it's very hard to guess what is exactly what that's bothering them. Because if they wanted really to go along and stay their customer, so the person that left, technically they could have found a way to become his customer, but no, they stayed with you. So okay, that means they trust you a little bit more, or they're afraid of the consequences of switching or something. But for now, you have the edge. It's useful to find out how much of a one do you have. Yeah, I hope I answered your question here.
Yeah, so yeah, just to give you a little bit, maybe just more context on
Okay.
You have a rough idea like what is their main pain point is basically, you know, as this type of customers, they want a Swiss knife and a guy who can, you know, be 10 people in one, so he can do everything. He can go to meeting, he can make
Yeah, but why?
call it.
Yeah, why? I mean, maybe they like the flexibility.
Yeah.
In that case, maybe it's cheaper to connect them with three guys.
They want to save the time because they
time.
need to change their working. So they would rather talk with one guy and one guy on each side, and to have a team of people on the other side, and then nothing will be done because it will be stuck in meetings.
So if time is
afraid of the change,
then maybe they will be persuaded to talk to one guy who will have a team behind them, or something like that. Because so you need to just push assurances on time. That's the best thing that you can have. It's a bad situation, no doubt about it. But if you can either, I mean, if you can find such a person, or still make a deal with the former employee or partner or consultant, great. If not, then just offer assurances on time. Make it tangible. Make it a tangible interest. Make it clear that it's a tangible interest for you not to be late. So some consequences, you offer up consequences for you if it's late, right? Okay. You have any follow-ups?
No, I'm pretty clear. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you.
If I mention hours or numbers, like number of words, number of pages, people start haggling to save money. But if I don't, include those, I sound vague. True. Yeah. Look, you can base your price on your inputs, like the number of hours, the number, or outputs, like you do, like number of pages, number of words, lines of code, right? Or outcome. So it's not about making a new logo. They want to refresh in their brand in some way. And the first thing that they thought of was making a new logo, but maybe that's not what they need. Maybe they need a new website, right? So focus on the outcome, because it's an instinct to haggle. When you give them numbers, you know, when you offer up nails, they will use the hammer. That's usually the case. So just try to base your price on the outcome when you can, and not on inputs and outputs. And then even if you talk about numbers, you talk about numbers that they told you, and they will not dispute their own numbers, right? So what do you need to do? I want to sell 20% more. Okay, so let's see what we can do for you to sell 20% more. Or in your case, Tom, they want to do something within the next 6 months, right? But they gave you that number. They're not going to dispute it. They're not going to haggle. Follow up. How do I know the outcome they want if they only ask for a series of tasks and my hourly price for that? Yes, that's the classic request for proposal, right? RFP. So this is a list of tasks. Waiter, we need this. How much is this? Right? That's the usual way that people see that. So I would say don't play their game by simply answering that question. So saying, yeah, my hourly rate is this. Because people who know little about what you do, and that's usually somebody who employs an expert, right? They can rarely avoid making mistakes in an RFP, in a request for proposal. Big mistakes, very vague wording, completely off the charts phrasing or something like that. So call them if you can, and get around the gatekeeper, which you will basically get to if the client's not very small, by asking for a clarification on that mistake. So when you said this, did you mean this or that? Because in this case, this is one kind of a endeavor, and in this case, that's completely something else, because we have to, you know, rehash the platform, lingo. And more often than you think, that will get you into a conversation with the decision maker, with the real decision maker, because the gatekeeper will not, let's say, feel that they have the authority to clarify something like that and completely change what it means that they wanted, right? Because they sent out an RFP to be able to compare all of you people who respond to that. And if they redefine something, that it all falls flat. So the only choice they usually have is connecting you to the real decision maker. And once that you are facing the decision maker, you can actually ask them, so, okay, all of the tasks, great, I can do that, but what are you trying to achieve? And then base your price on the outcome, on the value, and not on the inputs or outputs. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Paul. Thank you very much. I didn't see the note. Yeah. Tom, Paul added for your case, he said People can generally handle change. They just don't like the uncertainty. And if you can underwrite that uncertainty, if you can pin it, then in any shape or form, you can actually achieve much by making them much more calm. How can I know anything about my competitors' prices if nobody displays them on the website? That's a good question. You mean how do I? Okay, so you want to have a comparable price to your competitors, and nobody displays the price on the website. That's a classic case. You can of course ask them directly. You know, hi guys, I do similar things to you, and the client asked me to do X. Can you tell me your usual price for that so I don't blow a hole in the market by quoting something way too low? Of course, they're not going to give you their best price, right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's only important for you to get the general gist of the price level, and they have an interest in doing that. But sometimes people won't do that. Not everybody will respond, that's for sure, but maybe some will, and that's usually enough. And if nobody does, if people are scared to do that, if they don't have the time to do that, if they don't have the habit of doing that, then the clients will not be able to do that either. The real clients, right? Their clients as well. They will only get the price once they have committed deep into the relationship. And clients are not usually happy to do that. They want to have at least some idea if this is going to be expensive or not. So you can actually visit their websites, your competitors' websites, and look at, do these guys seem expensive, right? Do they have a really custom website, or do they seem that they have a lot of people? You can click on the team and see how many people there are, or see how many areas they cover. So there's no way they are covering all those areas with just like 2 people. There's probably like 16 of them. Or they have an expensive address. Yeah, sometimes that's fake. That's a postage number or something, but you have no way of telling. But also the clients don't either. So if they seem expensive to you, they will seem expensive to your clients as well. So you know, okay, these and these clients seem expensive, and these ones have a similar website to what I have. So and these ones look cheap. So I want to be compared with these guys, but not with these guys. Of course, somebody appearances can be deceiving, of course, but it doesn't pay to be deceiving in the level of price that you're going to offer. Because if you seem expensive and then your price is not expensive, then something is off, right? It looks scammy. You can imagine for something else. You can come up. You can come up and go into some really expensive. I don't know. I usually use dentists because their quality sounds painful. There's really expensive dentist office, and the prices are really low. You're going to get really worried really quick, right? And if they look cheap and they're not, they're expensive, that's a shock even more to the customer, and they will usually also not be happy about it. So it doesn't pay to play games with that, and usually people don't, because once they do go out of business more quickly. So usually what you see is what you get, and clients know that. So even if you don't know the exact numbers, you can get the general side of things just by looking if they seem expensive. And if they want to talk to you, and sometimes you will be surprised of how many people do talk to colleagues. Especially, not all industries are highly competitive that you have to fight for every customer, right? Sometimes colleagues just work out some price levels because that makes more sense than cannibalistic competition. So yeah, ask or guess. Whatever works for you will also work for your clients. One more. People don't react much when I tell them how much experience I have, but it does matter. How can I change that? So how can you change that people don't react to it? Look. Talking about experience, how much experience you have is cheap. And so is displaying logos of your customers on your website. Anybody can do that, even people who don't have the experience and never work for that company. I mean, many big companies check, but most companies don't. You may have been in business for, I don't know, 27 years, but maybe 25 of that you coasted in your dad's company. You went to drinks with clients, and that counted as sales. And you basically did nothing for 25 years, and now for 2 years you've been struggling. So 27 years is, I mean, it's nice, but it's not horribly impressive to most clients. Also, you can have the Coca-Cola logo on your website, but maybe all you did was change a light bulb there and then, put their logo on it. Or you may have never worked for it. Or you may have many logos, but for local companies that your global clients never heard of and never will. So that's not that simple. What wins you have achieved for those clients or in those 27 years, but no one else does. No one else has the context. So it will not all be relevant. You probably did many great things for those customers, but just a part of it will be relevant. Which part will be relevant? That depends on what problem are you solving for your customers, and you should always know that. What do they come to you for? I recently worked with a photographer, a portraitist, for business portraits, and I asked him, what do clients come to him for? And he said, photographs. And I said, no. I said, what do you mean no? I sell photographs. I said, look, if I want a photograph, I have a smartphone. I can take a photograph anytime I want. And new smartphones have good cameras, everything. Yeah, but selfies are not professional. And they make you look like an amateur, make you look like you don't have money. So what they actually come to him, when you want a professional portrait, you want respect, you want respectability. You want to look, let's say, like a real company, not somebody who takes selfies. So what problems do you solve? Take the wins, the gains, the results that you made in that direction within those 27 years for the companies that you work, and tell the customer something about that on your website or live or whatever, but only that. So relevant wins, which they may recognize themselves in. Oh, if you do this, then you could probably do that for us as well, right? And then use numbers or examples to illustrate how you help them. And that will go a much longer way than just simply displaying logos or saying how much experience you have. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you, everybody.
Everything changes.